Okay, hello, welcome back to my channel. Today's a little bit different because they're not really giving me a clear-cut message. So we're gonna start with this deck here. Actually, I'm just supposed to hold on. I'm gonna start with this deck here. This collective's a little lost, is what I'm getting. The very first thing is this collective's a little lost. This collective is a little bit not focusing on things. It is more about being lost, like not focused properly, being really scattered brain is what I'm getting for this collective. Let's see what we're going to pull up. Okay. Soul work. Yeah. Okay. This collective's feeling lost and you're being drawn inwards. You guys are doing soul work. I'm also being told shadow work with this group. You're doing the inner work right now. This collective is. There's a feeling of that you need to do more journaling. I'm being told you need to write things down more. And then you need to read what you've previously written. Some of you haven't journaled and you need to start journaling, and some of you used to journal and you stopped, and there's this feeling of needing to look back, needing to see what you previously wrote before you stopped journaling, needing to go inward, needing to do the actual work itself, looking at what creatively speaking you need to do. We also have movement. This one's really interesting because when you have soul work and movement, it usually indicates to me a few things. The first one is moving energy in your body. So with the snake here, right, it's really reminding me of actual like energy, like kundalini. So some of you might be going through a kundalini awakening at the moment, but some of you might also need to be doing energy work, specifically energy work regarding moving energy in your body. So things like Tai Chi or Qi Gong, for example, might be really pertinent to this collective here, but needing to have a physical aspect to it. So not just keeping it mental, not just keeping it internal, but also having a more physical aspect to the work that you're doing. This physical alignment, this physical duality, and coming together of bringing the mental and the spiritual and grounding it out in the physical. I talk about this a lot in my readings. I talk a lot about this a lot in my teachings because it's something I feel is really important, is this taking the spiritual, the energetic, and finding a way in the physical to ground it out. For some of you, that's things like yoga, kundalini yoga, hot yoga, just a standard like yoga practice. For some of you, that's qigong. For some of you, that's tai chi chuan. Okay. For some of you, it's a sense of regular movement. For some of you, also, they're showing me like running or horseback riding or like swimming laps, right? Because of that movement, it's a consistent movement, and yes, it's also there to move your body, but it's also moving energy, sweating it out, is kind of what they're showing me here. And within that movement, you're going to find creativity. Okay, you're birthing an egg. This is also what's really leading me to think that a lot of this collective is really more towards like qigong or yoga in particular. And those of you that have a martial arts background would also be into Tai Chi, perhaps, because those practices tend to foster a sense of creativity through that movement of energy they foster. So this collective needs to do a regular practice. Also clearing your energy is coming through here. Needing to clear your space, clear your energy, clear what it is that you are working to create. There's this sense of needing to actually do that, the shedding of skins as well. You're moving into, this collective is moving into the next phase. They're moving into this next era almost with their practice, with your spiritual practice. For some of you, it's also with your business. For some of you, it's also with family life. They're showing me like you're stepping into a new era within your family and within your relationships. So this could be learning to set boundaries better. This could be physically like stepping in. So some of you might be getting married or having children, but there's this sense of this collective. There's this movement of stepping into your power, stepping into yourself spiritually, and also for some of you, like birthing an actual physical like manifestation. So perhaps a new business or a new idea, things like that. Also, for some of you, I'm getting that you're working on new healing modalities. So you're learning about different healing modalities. So instead of, say, maybe you in the previously you had experience with something like Reiki, you're looking into additional healing modalities. Okay, this collective is potentially. Okay, there's a lot of transmutation that's going on in this collective. Change. In that state of change, you're in between phases as well, right? You're not just going into change. When change occurs, you're in between different stages. You're in between these eras. So there's definitely this sense of, okay, I'm needing to, I was supposed to pull that card, whoopsie, needing to actually go for it. That's interesting, because I was looking at the bottom of the deck and this card was at the bottom of the deck, and then I decided not to take it, and then they just pulled this card out again, and this is the Magi. Okay, this is magic, manifestation. Can you guys see that? You've got the hand here and you've got it pulling it out. This is actually just what I was talking about. This is like also beginner alchemy energy here with the Magi. This is bringing things into creation, fostering creation, bringing things. You're really taking this energy, this collective, and you're alchemizing it into what it is you want. You're bringing new things. Some of you also are healing the witch wound. Some of you are going to be, if you don't know what the witch wound is, I would say look into it. But in short, the witch wound is a wound that a lot of spiritual practitioners carry of being persecuted in previous lives or previous timelines regarding their spiritual abilities, their healing abilities, their intuition, specifically in relation to religion and witchcraft. And it usually deals with having previously had a lifetime where they were identified as a witch, and you were heavily persecuted for that. So with the magic coming out along with this snake card, this movement card, there's this sense of healing that. Okay, healing that and then stepping into this empowerment. A lot of you are transitioning into a far more empowered version of yourself, into a far more empowered, soulful, soul-aligned, actually is the word I'm looking for, not soulful, soul-aligned version of yourself. You're stepping into this more calm, creative, powerful energy where you just don't give an F anymore. Like you just don't care about this collective. Previously feels like they've had like a lot of people-pleasing tendencies, and you're transitioning out of that. You're stepping into that. You're doing some third eye work. This collective is psychic work. This collective is doing more work with regards to manifesting things, like bringing things out of from your mind and setting them and creating them. A lot of creation energy. You've got the Fate card and the Wilding card, right? Fate here, again, creation. You create your fate, where you need to restructure religious beliefs. You need to restructure what you were indoctrinated with growing up, and you need to really actually hone in on bringing that down. The Wilding card is giving me Two of Swords vibes in tarot, and the Two of Swords, if you follow the Rider-Waite tarot, it's a woman who has the swords and they're crossed, and she's holding them and she's blindfolded, and she doesn't realize that if she sets the swords down, she can take off the blindfold and she can get up and she can walk away. And that's the the vibe that I'm getting from this card here that's labeled the Wilding is it's really reminding me of the Two of Swords. If I can get, yes, there we go. It's really reminding me of that Two of Swords, that idea of feeling stuck, that idea of feeling trapped, but it's all in your mind. It's all psychological. And so needing to go through those psychological blockages so you're able to create and manifest and pull out the magic within you, pulling out the alchemy energy within you is, yeah, transmute. Right at the start of this reading, I was talking about transmutation and how this group is transmuting things. That's what I'm getting here with this collective, is you're in this transmutation. It's also really interesting how we've got the soul work and the transmute card, and they both have the bumblebee in them here. Some of you, that's a sign, but more predominantly, it's about putting in the work, right? In order to transmute, you need to do the soul work. You don't just transmute into the next phase. You have to do the soul work, put it in. And what I find interesting is the way I'm seeing this card right now, you've got the bumblebee and this area here. It kind of looks like a brain right now, the way I'm looking at it, the edges here with like the neural structure, right? The rewiring of the neurons, rewiring of your belief systems here, which is required when you've got this Two of Swords energy that's coming through with this Wilding card. When you need to rewire your psychological state in order to move forward. The reason so many of you are feeling stuck is because you haven't done all the work that's yet required to fix this area, to fix and transmute the mind. Okay, and as you do that, you're going to open your eye up, right? You're going to open your third eye. You're going to open the higher chakras. Okay, if you don't know what those are, some of you might want to look into that, but there's a level of higher chakras that go beyond the crown chakra, and they're not commonly taught, but there's something that I feel like applies here, where you're trying to open that up, you're trying to really realign with that, but you're needing to do the work, or you're doing the work, right? For some of you, this is also a confirmation. Some of you, this is a confirmation reading. This is not new things that you should be doing or are currently doing. This is stuff that you have done, and this is confirmation that you're on the right track, that your goals and what you're hoping to achieve is actually going to come to fruition. I'm being told there's one more card here. It's at the bottom of the Alchemist. Yes. The Alchemist. I talked about this at the start of this reading, about alchemizing energy and alchemizing things. The Alchemist is the next stage of the Magi, right? You start off the Magi. Some people are comfortable here and some people want to stay here. Some of you, you're in this state, or you have been here, and now you're transitioning into the Alchemist, and you're alchemizing your life. You're changing, you're moving, transitioning those things, but it still requires, just like it required the work to get into the Magi state, it's going to require work to get into the Alchemist state. It's not going to just come. It's going to be easier because now you know what to do, but it's not just going to come. It's not just going to show up the way it perhaps previously did, or perhaps you've felt it would. Okay, a lot of you need to reconnect with that spiritual part. You're reframing. Some of you are going to be doing deity work. I'm hearing angels. So I don't know if some of you are doing angel work or you're connecting to angels, but there is something here with angels for some of you. And then some of you are actually doing like physical alchemization. Like you're physically, I'm seeing chemistry vials, and you're physically mixing things. Some of you might also be herbalists. Okay, you're physically creating stuff, and it for spiritual means, for spiritual reasons. Yeah, for most of you, I think this is going to be more of a confirmation reading, but for some of you, this might be a step reading, like the steps you need to take. That's all. that's it for this reading. So I hope that it helped you, and I hoped it was beneficial, and I will see you next time. Bye.